What happens when one of the most talked about women in the world sits down for what should be a simple morning interview and instead unleashes a tirade so shocking that it ends with her being escorted off set? In just 32 seconds, a single comment would transform a friendly chat into the most explosive talk show moment of the year. The Today Show studio was buzzing with its usual morning energy. Cameras were rolling, the lights were bright, and Savannah Guthrie sat across from her guest with that warm, welcoming smile she's known for. She'd done thousands of interviews. She knew how to make people feel comfortable. She knew how to ask the tough questions while still being respectful. That morning, she had no idea what was coming. Meghan arrived on set looking polished and camera ready. The producers had briefed Savannah on the talking points. It was supposed to be a light conversation. Maybe touch on some recent projects. Keep things pleasant. Keep things professional. That's what everyone expected. Savannah started with a softball question. Something easy to get things rolling. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's wonderful to have you here. I know our viewers are excited to hear from you. Let's start with what you've been working on lately. Can you tell us about your current projects? Meghan shifted in her seat. Her expression changed. The smile that had been there moments before disappeared. You know, Savannah, I find it interesting that you're starting with that question. It's very telling. Savannah's eyebrows raised slightly. She kept her composure. This wasn't the response she expected, but she'd handled difficult guests before. I'm not sure I understand. It seemed like a natural place to begin. Of course you don't understand, Meghan said, her voice taking on an edge. That's exactly the problem. You sit here in your comfortable chair with your comfortable job, and you ask your comfortable questions without any awareness of what people like me have to deal with. The studio got quiet. The crew members exchanged glances. Savannah remained calm, professional. She leaned forward slightly. I apologize if the question came across wrong. That wasn't my intention at all. Why don't you tell me what you'd prefer to discuss? Meghan let out a sharp laugh. What I'd prefer? That's rich. You invite me here and then ask me what I'd prefer to discuss? This is exactly what I'm talking about. The lack of preparation, the lack of respect. Savannah's smile stayed in place, but her eyes showed confusion. I can assure you, we prepared thoroughly for this interview. Our team has been working on this for weeks. We're genuinely interested in hearing your perspective. Your perspective, Meghan repeated mockingly. Let me tell you something about perspective, Savannah. You have no idea what it's like to be judged constantly, to have every single thing you do picked apart by people who don't know you, who've never walked in your shoes. I think many people can relate to feeling judged, Savannah responded gently. That's actually something we could explore together if you'd like. Help our viewers understand your experience. Meghan's face hardened. You think you're being clever, don't you? Trying to redirect the conversation. Trying to make this about something palatable for your audience. Well, I'm not here to be packaged into a neat little segment for morning television. Savannah took a breath. She was still trying to salvage the interview. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. I want to have a genuine conversation with you. That's why we invited you here. Genuine? Meghan's voice rose. There's nothing genuine about this. Look around. The cameras, the lights, the fake smiles. This entire thing is performance. And you're the biggest performer of all, sitting there pretending to care. The crew was frozen. This was live television. Millions of people were watching. Savannah maintained her professional demeanor, even as the situation spiraled. I do care. That's why I do this job. I care about telling stories. I care about giving people a platform to share their truth. My truth? Meghan laughed again, bitter this time. You wouldn't know truth if it hit you in the face. You're part of the machine, Savannah. You're part of the problem. Sitting here in your designer outfit, reading questions off a card that some producer wrote, pretending you're some kind of journalist. Savannah's expression tightened, just slightly. I've been a journalist for over 20 years. I've covered wars, natural disasters, presidential elections. I've interviewed world leaders and everyday heroes. I take my work very seriously. Oh, how impressive, Meghan said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. You've done all these important things. You must be so proud of yourself. But let me ask you something, Savannah. Have you ever had your entire life dissected by the media? Have you ever had lies printed about you in newspapers around the world? Have you ever been villainized for simply existing? I'm not here to compare our experiences, Savannah replied steadily. Everyone's struggles are valid. Everyone's story matters, including yours. That's what I'm trying to give you space to share. Meghan shook her head. You don't get it. You'll never get it. People like you never do. You live in your bubble. You think asking a few questions makes you empathetic. It doesn't. It makes you complicit. The tension in the studio was thick. Savannah glanced briefly at her producers off camera. They were signaling something, but she stayed focused on her guest. Complicit in what, exactly? In the system, Meghan said, gesturing broadly. The system that builds people up just to tear them down. The system that values ratings over humanity. The system that you profit from every single day while people like me suffer the consequences. Savannah straightened in her chair. Her voice remained calm but firm. I think that's unfair. I've always tried to treat every guest with respect and dignity. I've given you a platform this morning to say whatever you want to say. And I've listened. Listened? Meghan's voice went up an octave. You haven't listened to a word I've said. You're just waiting for your next chance to speak. Just like everyone else. You don't actually care about me or my story. You care about your ratings. You care about your paycheck. That's not true, Savannah said, her patience beginning to show strain. I invited you here because I thought our viewers would benefit from hearing from you directly. I thought you had something meaningful to share. Meghan stood up abruptly. Her microphone wire pulled taut. Meaningful? You want meaningful? Here's something meaningful for you, Savannah. You're everything that's wrong with media today. You're shallow. You're self-serving. And you hide behind this facade of professionalism while contributing to a toxic culture. The studio gasped. Savannah remained seated, her hands folded in her lap. I'm sorry you feel that way. But I have to say, you came here as our guest. I've treated you with nothing but respect, and I don't think these personal attacks are warranted or productive. Respect? Meghan's voice was shaking now. You call this respect? Ambushing me with questions? Putting me on the spot? Making me justify my existence to your audience? I didn't ambush you, Savannah said, her voice still controlled. You agreed to this interview. You knew it was live. You knew we'd be having a conversation. I asked you one question about your work. One question, and this is how you've responded. Meghan pointed at Savannah. Don't you dare try to flip this around. Don't you dare make me the villain here. I came here in good faith, and you've shown your true colors. You're just like all the rest. You think you're better than everyone else. Savannah finally showed a flash of frustration. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I'm trying to do my job. A job I love. A job I've worked incredibly hard at for decades. And I don't appreciate being attacked for simply asking you about your projects. Your job, Meghan sneered. Your precious job. Well, congratulations, Savannah. You've just proven to everyone watching exactly what kind of person you are. Defensive. Dismissive. Completely out of touch. I think we need to take a break, Savannah said, looking toward the camera. She was trying to regain control. Trying to protect her show. Trying to protect her team. Oh no, Meghan said loudly. We're not taking a break. You wanted me here. You wanted this interview. Well, now you're getting it. Let me tell everyone watching what it's really like. What it's like to be used by people like you. People who pretend to be allies, but are really just vultures. Savannah's jaw clenched. That's enough. I've been patient. I've been professional. But I won't sit here and be spoken to like this. Not by you. Not by anyone. Truth hurts, doesn't it? Meghan shot back. You can't handle someone actually calling you out. You can't handle someone not playing along with your little game. Well, guess what, Savannah? Some of us are tired of playing games. Some of us are tired of pretending everything is fine when it's not. This interview is over, Savannah said firmly. She stood up. Her microphone was still live. Her expression was serious, but composed. I tried to give you a fair opportunity to speak. I tried to be respectful. But this has crossed a line. Meghan laughed. Of course it's over. Because you're running away. Just like everyone else runs away when confronted with reality. You can't handle the truth, Savannah. You never could. Savannah turned to someone off camera. Can we please have someone escort our guest out? Escort me out? Meghan's voice reached a new pitch. You're going to have me escorted out? This is unbelievable. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The minute someone doesn't bow down to you, you have them removed. The minute someone speaks their mind, you silence them. Two staff members appeared from the side of the set. They approached carefully, professionally. They weren't aggressive, just present. Savannah had already walked off set. She'd had enough. She'd given her guest every opportunity. She'd stayed calm under attack. She'd done everything right. Meghan was still talking as the staff members gently guided her toward the exit. Everyone needs to see this. Everyone needs to know what really happens behind the scenes. They silence anyone who tells the truth. They protect their own. They don't care about real people with real problems. They only care about their image. The camera operators weren't sure what to do. Should they cut away? Should they keep filming? The control room was in chaos. This had never happened before. Not like this. Not this publicly. Not this explosively. Meghan pulled her arm away from one of the staff members. Don't touch me. I can walk myself out. But everyone watching needs to know what kind of show this really is. What kind of person Savannah Guthrie really is. She's not the sweetheart you think she is. She's calculating. She's cold. She's everything wrong with this industry. Another producer stepped in. This one was more senior, more authoritative. Ma'am, you need to come with us now. This is still a live broadcast. You're disrupting our show. Your show? Meghan turned on the producer. Your show is a joke. This whole network is a joke. You parade people in front of cameras. You exploit their stories. You make money off their pain. And then when someone calls you out, you have them removed. It's disgusting. The senior producer remained calm. You're welcome to your opinions, but you need to leave the set now. We have a show to continue. Meghan looked around wildly. Where's Savannah? Where did she go? She doesn't even have the courage to face me. She just runs away. Typical. Absolutely typical. Ms. Guthrie has done nothing wrong, the producer said firmly. She conducted herself professionally throughout this entire interaction. You, however, have been hostile and inappropriate from the moment you sat down. Inappropriate? Meghan's voice cracked. I'll tell you what's inappropriate. What's inappropriate is inviting someone on your show and then treating them like garbage. What's inappropriate is asking insulting questions. What's inappropriate is acting like you're doing someone a favor by giving them airtime. The staff members were now on either side of Meghan, not touching her, not forcing her. Just present. Just there. Just waiting for her to make the decision to leave. She looked at the cameras one more time. Remember this moment, she said, her voice shaking with emotion. Remember what you saw here today. Remember that when someone tries to speak truth to power, this is what happens. They get silenced. They get removed. They get painted as the crazy one. But I'm not crazy. I'm just done pretending. She finally allowed herself to be guided toward the exit. The staff members walked with her, kept pace with her, made sure she left the studio safely. Her voice could still be heard, even as she moved further away. This isn't over. People need to know. People deserve to know. You can't keep getting away with this. You can't keep treating people like props, like entertainment, like disposable objects for your amusement. And then she was gone. The studio door closed behind her. The set was silent. The crew looked at each other in disbelief. What had just happened? How had a simple interview gone so wrong so fast? The control room scrambled to cut to commercial. They needed time to regroup, time to figure out their next move, time to decide how to address what millions of viewers had just witnessed. Savannah stood backstage. Her hands were shaking slightly. Not from fear, from adrenaline, from frustration, from the shock of being verbally attacked on live television. Her producer approached her. "Are you okay?" the producer asked. Savannah nodded. "I'm fine. I don't understand what happened. I asked her about her projects. That was it. One question." "You did everything right," the producer assured her. "You stayed calm. You stayed professional. You tried to redirect. You tried to salvage it. No one could have handled that better." Savannah looked at the monitor showing the commercial break. "What do we say when we come back?" "We address it briefly," the producer said. "We acknowledge what happened. We move on. We don't dwell on it. We don't give it more oxygen than it deserves." Back on set, the crew was resetting, checking equipment, making sure everything was ready for the return from commercial. The makeup artist touched up Savannah's face, fixed her hair, made sure she looked camera ready, professional, composed. The countdown started. 5, 4, 3, 2, and they were back. Savannah sat in her chair, the same chair where she'd been sitting minutes before when everything went sideways. She looked directly into the camera. Her expression was serious but warm, understanding but firm. "We're back," she said, "and I think we need to address what just happened. As you all saw, our interview took an unexpected turn. I want to be clear about something. We invited our guest here to have a conversation. A real conversation. We prepared questions. We wanted to give her a platform to share her thoughts and her work." She paused, collected herself, continued. "What transpired was unfortunate. I've been doing this job for a long time. I've interviewed thousands of people, and I always approach every conversation with respect, with genuine curiosity, with an open mind. This morning was no different." Savannah's co-anchor, who had been watching from the side, joined her at the desk. A show of support, a show of solidarity. "I asked one question," Savannah continued, "about her current projects, that's all. And what followed was a series of personal attacks, accusations, comments that I felt crossed the line from disagreement into something else entirely." Her co-anchor nodded. "You handled that with incredible grace." "I tried," Savannah said. "I really did. I tried to understand where she was coming from. I tried to redirect. I tried to find common ground. But at a certain point, when someone is attacking you personally, questioning your integrity, questioning your career, questioning your character, you have to draw a line." The camera stayed on her face, showing her sincerity, showing her humanity. "I love this job," Savannah said. "I love talking to people, hearing their stories, learning from them. But I also believe in mutual respect. I believe in civil discourse. I believe that even when we disagree, we can do so without tearing each other down." Her co-anchor spoke up. "The way you conducted yourself was a masterclass in professionalism." Savannah smiled slightly. "Thank you. But honestly, I'm just doing what I was trained to do. What I've always tried to do. Treat people with dignity. Listen. Engage. And when something isn't working, know when to step back." The conversation shifted. They moved on to the next segment. Weather. News updates. The show continued. Because that's what live television does. It continues. It moves forward. It doesn't stop. But for those 32 seconds, when Meghan made that first cutting remark, when she called Savannah's question very telling, everything changed. What should have been a pleasant morning chat became a viral moment, a teaching moment, a reminder that even the most experienced hosts can face the unexpected. Savannah finished the rest of her show with the same professionalism she'd shown throughout the incident. She smiled. She laughed with her co-hosts. She interviewed other guests. She proved that one difficult moment wouldn't define her day, wouldn't shake her confidence, wouldn't change who she was. Because at the end of the day, Savannah Guthrie had done nothing wrong. She'd asked a simple question. She'd tried to have a conversation. She'd remained calm under attack. She'd set boundaries when necessary. She'd protected herself and her team. And she'd shown millions of viewers what grace under pressure looks like. The incident would be talked about for days, analyzed, debated, replayed. But for Savannah, it was just another day at work, another challenge faced, another moment handled, another example of why she'd earned the respect of her peers and the trust of her viewers. She'd invited a guest. The guest had become hostile. She'd tried to salvage the situation. When that failed, she'd ended it. Simple as that. No drama from her end. No retaliation. No matching the energy. Just professionalism. Just boundaries. Just respect for herself and her show. And that's what separated a seasoned professional from someone who couldn't handle the platform they'd been given